Yo, yo, ladies and gentlemen and ladies, Dr. Tim Ravoto in the house, except that's not my name, but too bad, so sad. Tim, what's up?
My name. What's going on, man? Nothing.
It's my name.
We got a very special guest.
Special guest, yes. The
Welcome
one, the
to-
only top 50.
Top 50 as of this week.
Yeah,
Mr.
again.
Top 50.
repeat customer now.
There we go. We got Coach Kevin Duffy. What's
Two
going on,
time.
my man?
Lots. Running around. I mean, you know the drill. Coaching. Today it's clearly spring is coming to New England. I had 8 clients in a row. On my Fridays, I like to run it machine gun style. So we went from 6 to about 1:30 and done. So
There you go.
we did 8,
Everyone-
we did 8 today.
Everyone's putting the work in. Love it.
Yeah. Or playing catch up. My
Or playing
favorite
catch
game, play catch up.
That's what they're doing at the players, too. They're playing catch up. That shit.
I
That
need
looks
Colin
bad.
Morikawa to do well in soft turf. That's what we need.
It's a fair point. It's a fair point. Yeah, the players is a disaster right now. I am 10 minutes away, and it is actually the rain is right now. It's raining. It hasn't stopped since this morning. They haven't had the thunderstorms today like we were supposed to have, but it's pretty muggy. Tomorrow, I think they're going to get slapped in the morning, and then hopefully by the afternoon it'll clear up. Sunday and Monday are going to be beautiful, but cold and windy. So we'll see what happens.
More carnage.
I
Yeah,
hope there is
hopefully-
carnage. Right now, they're just friggin' fishing in barrels.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be so wet, but it's going to be soft, and people are going to throw darts. It's going to, I think, look for the low scores. Low scores.
However, if it is as windy as it's supposed to be, they're talking like 20 to 40 mile per hour gusts. That changes a whole lot of that course.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We'll see what, and it's windy, dude. Like you got to remember that that's right off the ocean or close enough to the ocean that
Yeah,
it gives
sea
you wind.
breeze.
Like across the street where we are, or where one of the clubs is at Sawgrass Country Club, like one of those holes, like you're just feeling wind just smack you in the face the whole time. It does cross the street. Like it does get real windy.
Did you, Duffy, did you see where Jordan Spieth hit 2 today on 17? We were just talking about this before you jumped on.
Yeah, I saw a recap, and the recap clip that I saw, they kept showing his shot over and over again. So I was like, for a second, I was like, why would you not be able to play off that?
I know. I thought the same thing. I thought he took like 4 rips from the tee and he landed
They
there
just
every time.
reshowed- Yeah,
Yeah.
they just kept re-showing the angle. It threw me for a loop. And I was DMing today because the top 50 came out. Well, top 50 came out a few days ago, but we all just found out about it. But I was DMing with his physio because he does some of the nominations and stuff like that. And I asked, not about Jordan's. Hey, did you see Jordan's shot? I did not ask a stupid question like that. But I asked, hey, if you're on site today, I hope you have, your weather gear. And he said, yeah, I do. And then I started plug and play. I was like, hey, you coming to the Open? Because it's in my backyard. And we dinner.
Yeah,
Wanna get
for sure.
steaks. Yeah.
For sure. Love it.
No, actually, we should get both of you down here to my neck of the woods because it's warm and there's sunshine 90% of the time.
I mean, it's currently sunny outside and not raining here. So we're one up.
Temperature,
Yeah.
temperature, please.
50?
I was wearing shorts because I'm a tough New Englander.
Yeah. Dude, my cold plunge finally thawed out in the backyard. So this week I've been able to cold plunge every day. But it's 50 degrees. It's
Wait,
fine.
whoa. Your cold plunge finally thawed out. It's a cold plunge. So it was
No, it
iced over.
froze. Yeah, it froze solid because it was cold like 2 weeks ago. It was like 16 for a couple days and it froze solid. Like even the little heater inside couldn't keep up. It just froze.
I'm in with cold plunges. I'm in with ice baths. Don't talk me into cold shower. Like these cold shower challenges, I have very few things that generally make me feel warm and cozy in this world. Warm showers are one of them. I know the benefits. I read the articles. I understand. I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Dude, when people ask me why I cold plunge, I'm like, because it feels like you're going to die and then you don't. So then you feel pretty good the rest of the day. I don't want to hear any other bullshit about like brown fat and all this crazy shit. Just you like it because it feels shitty and then you feel good after. That's it.
I still am not doing it unless I'm doing it 2 a day. So
Yeah. Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, let's talk about that, dude. Because you and Jackson have that in common. You guys both played college football, right? You played where? Westfield.
yeah, I played at Southern Connecticut for a year. Then I realized that school was not for me, and when you go for football and school, and then the football is the only thing keeping you there. I transferred to Division III after that, Westfield State, and the linemen are much easier to deal with there. It was a smaller school. I liked it better, so it was I made the right call. I went for exercise science at both places, but it was a good call to make a transfer to a small school.
Fun fact: took anatomy at Southern Connecticut.
I took anatomy 1 or whatever, and then I had to do
Wesleyan didn't offer anatomy because I'm not even going to go into that rant.
Wesleyan's was part of school, then a full school, then football program got messy, and that was a whole deal over there, wasn't it?
Wesleyan?
Yeah.
No. We had a pretty normal run of things. They've had football there. It's got the oldest football field in the country.
What am I confusing with? Isn't Wesleyan right next to Northeastern?
No, that's Wellesley.
No, that's Wellesley. That's Wellesley.
The former all-girls school.
Wesleyan. Where's Wesleyan?
I know you didn't go to an all-girls school.
Wesleyan's in Middletown, Connecticut.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. Don't worry. Shout out to anybody who knows where Wesleyan University is. But, if everybody else screw off, that's fine.
I don't know.
Glad. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I thought it was in Pennsylvania, dude, so I'm on the same.
But, okay, so we are in the same conference as Tufts.
Okay.
Got it.
There you go. The Jumbos.
The Elephants.
Too many good jokes to use about that. I'll leave them all to you. All fantastic. We used to go to their basketball games and we'd have these giant signs that were
top notch.
What was the transfer to from football to golf for you?
Oh, well, that was about football was just undergrad, so I had never touched a golf club. My godfather's a very good golfer, but I never really went out with him. My dad tried to golf, and that basically turned into him cussing and throwing clubs into the water, so that didn't really help me as a kid. So I never really was interested in it. Got out of football in undergrad, went to or ended up moving down here, going to grad school down at the University of St. Augustine, and started competing in powerlifting and weightlifting. Competed in weightlifting first, and then switched over to powerlifting. Did that for probably 6-ish years. And then towards the end of that, right before I got out of grad school, we went out and played golf a few times. I was like, I kind of like this, and then kind of dug into it a little bit more. And then 2020 really was the year where I was like, there is a giant gap in good education, knowledge, training for golfers. And somebody's got to fill it. So I was like, the more the merrier. It's time to figure this out. So for me, that was the big transition because it's one of the few sports. I'll include tennis to a point, especially because I'm more around it now, that everything is just old. Like it's outdated information. It's also not a big part of people's programs. Like I've seen plenty of kids who are just like 15, 16 years old that have never seen a weight room, which is funny to say in today's day and age because we've got local high schools where they've got a strength coach from the time they're like in 6th grade, but the golfers don't seem to be going. All the other kids are going.
I feel like around here they are.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
I've got some that are, but a lot are just like, let me put it to you like this. They're traveling all year long. Like some of these kids are doing like the whole sports specialization thing where they are golf, no time to do anything, golf some more. And it's funny because there's a lot of education. I just gave a talk a couple of weeks back to a group of parents on this about sports specialization. Specifically, it was for tennis and kids playing tennis and kids playing golf. And I was just like, this is just all of this information is available to all of the other sports. And maybe it is to golf, but maybe they just need a little bit more. Maybe you guys might not see that. But to me, there is still a huge gap in the information provided to golfers about fitness, performance, how to train. It's mostly myths to me. Like most of the time when I'm talking to people, it's like not debunking. It's like kindly swaying them to learn that the way they're thinking isn't actually helping them. It just feel like there's a lot of like crap and shit you've got to rummage through to make it work.
Yeah, I can't speak for Tim here, but I seem to be getting a little bit more of an educated crowd. in the department of this will help them, I think it's a little bit more prevalent because we have an off season here. But for example, I had 14 high school kids training last night. So
Right.
that, also could be surrounded just by the kids that get it. But in our area, it's pretty prevalent because prevalent. Sorry,
I like prevalent.
Prevalent. It's a good new word. Try it out.
Word of the day, prevalent.
Is that the kids that we're working with? Their competition is either training or is bigger or stronger or playing other sports that's carrying over. Obviously, in New England, we play other sports during different seasons because it's very obvious to do. It's very difficult to play golf, and your mom or dad is most likely not going to build a simulator in your garage for you to play 18 holes. So there are those people, but it's few and far between.
Yeah, I think up here in general, all the sports are doing it. Like growing up, I went to Mike Boyle when I was in 6th grade, just because I was playing basketball, running. It was just that's what you do because you got to get. I was a small kid, you got to get bigger, stronger. So I think up here, I don't know if it's Boston and having a good medical base, but we have a lot of high school athletes in all the sports, all pretty much get it.
Which is good. Yeah. And it's also come to, be mindful that I'm seeing a very specific niched group that has, it can be a little bit tricky at times. And a lot of these kids aren't crossover athletes. They're doing no other sports. I've got 2 kids that do, and they're the best athletes that I have, funny enough. They play lacrosse, they play golf, they played football. But, sometimes it can be quick just to specialize.
Yeah, definitely. I know the people I'd randomly talk to online, on Instagram, I've never met before. I'll talk to, people anywhere from high school through amateur. A lot of the high school kids online that I just randomly talk to don't get it. They're like, oh yeah, some trainer gave me 8 stretches that I can do to help loosen up my body for my golf swing. And I'm like, well, if that's all you're doing, you're getting left in the dust because kids all around, kids at least in this area are all getting it after in the weight room. Yeah. Uh-oh. Did Jackson freeze?
Either that or he's going mute.
Uh-oh.
All right, we're back in at it. We had a little explosion here down in Florida, and all of a sudden my whole computer just decided to go black. So now that we are back at it, seeing as I just discussed briefly kind of how I got into golf, which was a little bit different. Kevin, you also did not start in golf. You were kind of football and rugby, right? Where did you come from?
I'm from Natick, Mass. But, I owned a set of clubs growing up. We played every once in a while, but it wasn't a big focus. It was something you did when you weren't playing baseball and football season hadn't started yet. So that's basically it for my golf background, pre-college. Then after that, I specialized in fitness. I thought, football. I thought something else. I didn't know where I was going to go, what sport I was going to end up doing. At that point in time, nobody was really pushing for you to specialize in a sport at any point, at least through any of the education I had gone through. Then once I got out of college, I did, instead of the graduate route, I decided to go and do a ton of internships. So I was coaching from the age of 19, almost full time, starting at 19, and then ended up getting an internship after college at Exos Performance in Gulf Breeze, Florida. From there, I went to the hockey world at Northeastern. That was awesome. There's a giant crossover from the hockey world directly to golf because a lot of hockey players also happen to play golf in the off season. So it's a pretty easy correlation. It's pretty close dynamic for recruitment as far as shots and things like that, increasing speed. And then right when I figured out I liked the college hockey world, we went on a losing streak. And God, is that horrible. The atmosphere was terrible. Everybody wanted to kill each other. I was an unpaid intern, basically paying money to park in Boston. I was in the minus every day. I was like, I should get a real job. So I started working as as a strength and conditioning coach in the private sector, and my first few clients happened to also play golf. So they were my guinea pigs, and one of them is still with me to this day. So he gets mad every year if I get like a Golf Digest nomination or an article comes out. He just begs me not to raise my rates again. And I tell him I won't do it inside the year.
There you go.
So, with this most recent nomination, he's in Sea Island, Georgia. He just told me not to go to the rate that the Sea Island, Georgia strength and conditioning coach is. He's like $480 for evaluation.
I saw on that top 50 list. I looked at it today. I was like, "Holy crap! How are these people charging these rates?" It's insane.
I just told them to dig in to find out what comes from a $480 evaluation. I assume there's going to be, some TrackMan numbers. There's going to be some speed stick numbers. There's going to be some force plate numbers, but that is an astronomical amount of money for a eval, and I pray to one day be there.
You'd be amazed, man. It's all, if people find value in something, they pay a lot of money for it. I mean, some of the people that I work with, I look at some of the stuff they buy, and it's all like when you're talking to them about like what your costs are. Like I remember I had a guy who was like, "Oh, that's what you charge per month?" It's like, that's a lot for remote coaching. I was like, yeah. I was like, and why do you look at it that way? I was like, what do you spend money on per month? I was like, and that was a while back now. But one of the things that I've gotten into from a coaching perspective, business perspective, if someone says, they don't want to do this or, it's not worth it to them, in my mind, it's not that they're being cheap or they don't want to do it. It's that I didn't express the value of what I'm doing enough to them. Right? When I look at it that way, it's on me as opposed to on them. Because a lot of people are going to up and leave and do whatever they want to do. I didn't show them enough value, and thus they didn't want to continue. A lot of these people that charge high rates for certain things, they're like, hey, my value is extremely high. And that's just the way that they look at it. So you could charge a lot of money for a lot of things. I mean, people spend on cars and what they spend on certain dinners and all this kind of stuff. They find value in it, they'll spend money on it.
Yeah, I got a talking to from Greg Rose at TPI regarding my rates. He had basically there's probably 50 golf professionals or fitness or physios or PTs in the room, and of the 50, he kind of went down a list: raise your hand this, raise your hand that, and at the end there was only two people with their hands still up. I was one of them, and another woman who had the certifications he listed off, Golf Digest, this and that, and he yelled at me because if I don't raise my rates, the people below me can't follow, and it's basically, he was being dramatic, but he was saying it was my fault. So we came back from that conference, and 2022, the rates at Rotational Power Strength went up.
Shocking.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I mean, you got to charge them for the outcome, right? Sell the outcome, charge them for the outcome.
Yeah, well, we are yet to be let down. I do not have anybody who has not increased their club head speed or played with pain continuously. I'm yet to see that, and if I do see it, I try to fix it faster than anything in the world. So there has been a few outliers that get a little sticky closer to where they should be seeing higher numbers, and at that point in time, it's just I found it to be a lot of the fact that they're trying to use their new strength and their new power, and they're not addressing their swing flaws, and that's why I work in a facility that I have access to 3 to 4 swing coaches and point them in the right direction.
Yeah, definitely. And I think so because we have so many people to listen to this that are not strength coaches. Like everyone listening to this for the most part is a golfer, and so one of the important things that everyone listening to this should take note of is that guys like Duffy and me and Tim, our job is to provide you all of the knowledge necessary to optimize your performance on and off the golf course. That includes rehab, that includes strength, that includes your power. Obviously, we want you to play better golf. We want you to hit the ball further. We want you to do all of those things. But you have to remember that you are investing in something that's very long-term, right? I work with a lot of very old golfers remotely that are between 75 and 90 years old. And one of the biggest things that I see in them is that they are able to play better golf walk 18 holes, which is insane for an 86-year-old person to say they are doing. And they're doing it at a high level because they're investing in their health now, right? We get to talk about the performance aspects and hit the ball further and all this stuff, which is awesome. That's what we want. But our job is to make you a better athlete, which is, who's the guy, Bowerman or something like that. If you have a body, you're an athlete. Like, everybody is an athlete. You have a body, you can be athletic. We want to develop that across time. And based on where you are, like, a lot of us are working with youth athletes. They have goals and aspirations to be on the tour, get to the Corn Ferry, and go from there. We're going to train them maybe a little bit differently. But it all revolves around the fact that your individual performance is our goal. We want you to be able to perform now, perform in 10 years, and perform when you're 90 years old. Like, I've got guys now where I'm like, it's so fucking cool that you are 86 years old, walking 18 holes, scoring your age or less.
That's awesome.
And you get after it in the gym 3 days a week. Like, that should be something that I think people want to see. And that's what we do as coaches. That's what Duffy does up north in an amazing way. And that's, that's our ultimate goal. Do you agree with that, Kevin? Is that something that kind of fits your mold?
Yeah, I would say the pieces that we put online that are flashy are probably the 5% that I coach. And 95% of the people I coach are everyday golfers. Personally, and I don't even try to beat around the bush. I say, hey, yeah, I mean, I coach kids that are playing Division I golf. That's a lot of fun. It's fun to see them do stuff. But honestly, it is a little boring because they're not going to screw up very often. They take directions very well. They move fluently. And every once in a while, I get to tweak a little 1% here and a 1% there. But my biggest joy, like yesterday, I took not an older gentleman. I'll call him, let's say he's 52, right? So middle age, wants to play better, and all I did yesterday was teach him how to hip hinge. He addressed the ball 2 seconds later, and he felt better. So he's going to be making leaps and bounds faster than he ever thought he would. And one of my favorite stories is my client came to me and he said, hey, I want to play better golf. At this point in time in his life, he was the president at the country club. Golf was his life, all this, all that. He was 65 to 85 pounds overweight at that point in time. He wanted to play. He didn't want to warm up. Breaking news, right? He didn't move well. He didn't want to warm up because he sucked at it. All he wanted to do was strength train, and he got winded during the warm up, lost balance twice, couldn't do any type of internal, external rotation of the hip. I didn't even take him through an eval. I was like, you're not going to pass that damn thing. He now hits the ball very well. His quality of life has gone sky high. He's lost 85 pounds, and he built a home gym. I no longer see him in person. I just type away, send him a program. He invites me over for drinks sometime. He's like one of my favorite clients, and he doesn't give a damn about his golf game. He came to me for golf. He stayed with me because his life improved. So that's my favorite client. Granted, it is cool that we've got LPGA clients or Corn Ferry, and then we've got college golfers, but that's my favorite dude, the guy who couldn't play without pain and now has 2 T-shirts size down. So sure, the cool people are fun, but that's not my bread and butter.
No, that's the best, because I think a lot of adults, unfortunately, like, you get caught up in working or whatever, right? And then you just kind of lose any kind of like play or movement in your life, right? Like, you think about growing up, I don't know about you guys, but like always doing something, right? Like there are always kids around the neighborhood, even through like high school. You're just like always playing a sport, doing something. Then you hit like after college and it's like, well, you don't necessarily have to do that. We all have friends that play in like leagues, right? Like hockey leagues and basketball leagues, or you have your weekly golf league. But like doing stuff on a Tuesday or a Wednesday in the gym just to move around and, make yourself better. That's life changing right there.
Well, you have to remember too that when we're talking about some of the issues that I see, especially with how golf performance is pushed out to the world, is that everything we see is flash, and it's all what the PGA Tour guys are doing. And that's one of the conversations I have with a lot of my clients is just because they do X doesn't mean you should do X. And then you do X, and then you're like, man, I'm telling you what, I am so sore. This hurts, that hurts. I'm like, yeah. When's the last time that you've jumped? And then you decided to do a full plyometric workout and then try to back squat, which you've never learned how to do. Like, it's just getting people to understand that what you see on TV is the 0.02%. of golfers in the world. And even half the shit they're doing, I'm like scratching my head at, which I think all of us can agree on in some facet or another. If I see another Bosu ball, I'm throwing it into the closest alligator I can find.
Yeah.
But there's just a lot of stuff that you see and you're like, man, this doesn't apply to my 60-year-old who's never walked 9 holes.
I saw an MLB player, can't remember the name, for the Padres, taking swings with 2 feet on a Bosu ball. 2 Bosu balls, 1 foot each. And the caption underneath was like some hitting guru, doctor, blah, blah, blah. Not a doctor. He's like, yeah, this works on the stability because afterwards when you get out of there, you feel really stuck into the ground because you're not on a Bosu ball. The only piece that I somewhat could have justified, hold on, don't jump down my throat, that he got rid of 1 ball, pushed through the back foot on 1 Bosu ball, almost like a step through drill, off the Bosu ball onto solid ground and then swung. I was like, I'll give you a little there, but like silliness. Like, sure, you feel more stable when you're not on a Bosu ball. Great. But what Bosu ball has done a great job of doing, we're always have their name in our mouth.
I know you do.
So they are doing so good at marketing. Good job, boys or girls, whoever sells that.
Whoever it is.
Like valve slides instead of furniture slides, 8 cents versus $28.
Hey, listen, Starbucks coffee versus a regular coffee from any other place.
It's not as good.
Hey, fun fact. Do you know that Kirkland's coffee, Costco's coffee, is almost identical to Starbucks coffee?
Fun fact. Wow.
Fun fact. Only know that because one of my clients worked for, I think it was Kraft, when Kraft like owned some kind of coffee thing. And he was like, at the distribution line, it's just like Kirkland, right next to it, Starbucks. Looks awfully a lot like the same beans.
Oops.
I don't know, man. I'm such a snob with coffee now. Tim will tell you, I made him a cold brew yesterday or something.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah, I've become a full blown coffee snob because I put the very expensive coffee maker on our wedding registry, and that was a very smart decision.
That's what we've got. We've got the Philips 5200 sitting out there. It's the greatest thing I've ever purchased in my life.
Yeah, I got a Breville with the hopper with the.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now you're talking. Tim. Come on. Come to the dark side, baby.
I'm feeling left out. I have a $20 Mr. Coffee machine.
Dude, come on. I'm paying you well enough. You gotta get a better coffee maker.
Sacrilegious. And get a subscription to Black Rifle Coffee. Do those 2 things.
I can do that.
I have another veteran-owned I buy from Alpha Coffee Company. I like that.
Yeah, all about it. I'm waiting to look at how the stocks do here for Black Rifle. They just went public.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm a hold off. I don't think that's gonna.
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna see what happens, but I would love to see that. We're going to Savannah next weekend for Patty's, which God bless us both. But they've got one of their hubs up there, which is like their little combination of like their store with 9 Line Apparel. I'm pretty excited to go up there and just ravage a bunch of coffee and clothes.
Sounds excellent to me.
Fair enough point. So Kevin, something that I like to ask people, we asked this to like Alex Ellert, the golf physiologist, when he was on here, and we've asked a couple other people. What do you see as the biggest gap or the biggest issue in golf performance right now as we stand? Like biggest issue or biggest thing you wish people were talking about, or something people aren't doing enough of or doing too much of? What do you see as that thing right now in golf performance?
Well, I'm on 2 kicks right now. So I'll talk about that and then I'll kind of circle back. So my 2 kicks is the wrong shoe wear for what your player needs for what they're using. So generally somebody who has, and you guys can probably speak to this a little bit better than I do, but somebody who's got a lack of ankle flexibility, they may need a softer shoe to make it easier for their foot to move. Whereas most of my kids or somebody with a higher club head speed or who lacks stability will need a firmer shoe. So a lot of people are kind of picking the wrong shoes. That's not my biggest, piece of topic. But the biggest gap I'm seeing is that we're pretending like it's more important for the male golfer to train rather than the female golfer to train. Whereas in my experience, I would say it's flipped. I would say it's more important, and the lady golfers who are training can separate themselves greater than the men who are training or aren't training. Some guys can kind of get away with it for at some period of time. Eventually, somebody will surpass them, but there are kids that we know that are just going to be tall and lanky and probably develop back pain who aren't training. And there are men who are going to get by with whatever club head speed that they're going to create. Whereas the female golfers aren't making it as much of a priority, with kind of the exception of, I got some pretty good female golfers that train at the gym, and Tim can attest to this too, but we are on a mission at RPS to make our lady golfers very, very damn strong and swing the club very damn hard. So I think that's one of the most obvious things to address. But in the realm of the fitness field, too much exercise looks golfy, which shouldn't. I am doing a little
Preach.
bit. Yeah. I'm doing a little bit more of a job of saying, hey, this is split stance and you're doing a push down, and here's why it's like impact position. I'm doing a little bit more of explaining my thought process there to my clients, so they're, just to get a little bit more buy-in. However, like, a deadlift looks like neutral spine posture, and that is why we do it. That's it. We're just going to keep doing that because it's very important. So I live by the theory that doing the simple things savagely well produces uncommon results. So that's where we live and that's how we die. So that's what we're going with.
I make no arguments with any of that. I think that's one of the biggest gaps we have right now is, to your point, women aren't training nearly as much as they should. I'm actually, one of my favorite clients is 13 years old. She lives up in Maryland. Just won a tournament this past weekend in Orlando, which was super awesome.
Hell yeah.
But it has been I think of this actually too, because my little sister never trained. She is a stick. She might have weighed 30 pounds soaking wet, but she's all of 6 feet tall, super tall. But when she started training, when she started working out, and for me, it's the demeanor. It's the feeling that, hey, I'm strong. Like, hey, I deadlifted my body weight today. I'm like, damn right. Like, that's so cool. Like, when I look at my little girl up in Maryland, like seeing her change, like her vertical jump now. Like, how typically you always see like my knees touch and then I jump, my knees touch and then I jump. Now she's like being explosive, landing in like an athletic position. And she'll tell me all the time, she's like, I feel so much stronger and empowered. Like, I feel like, wow, like I can do anything. I'm hitting the ball further. I'm doing this and that. I think it's just so much more thrilling when I hear that from a female, to your point. And I think that there is a gap a little bit in like how we're training them, or not in how we're training them, but in how that's looked at. I think it's changing now because you've got the Kelly Nordas of the world that are having all their videos come out from the Joey D land of Jupiter. And I think that that's probably making some kind of influence. And I know I've heard from a lot of kids that they're like, yeah, I want to start doing that, or I want to do this. But I do think that is missing. Tim, are you seeing that?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you would ask any of those, like the quarters or anything, they would say like that's the 5% that we're doing, right? It's just what looks cool and gets like likes and views. But I think if you really sat down with any of those pros that are posting stuff, like some of the stuff JT posts, I'm like, would I ever do that with anyone? No. But like that's probably the like 1% of what he's doing that week. He probably already deadlifted, already squatted, was already doing like, rows and stuff. I bet if you sat down with any of them, they would say, yeah, I'm obviously doing other stuff.
Yeah, Jackson, me and Tim kind of argued about this the other day because he made a post on, basically anti-JT's training. And I was like, dude, you know better. He's just posting the things that are sexy or look cool. Like, I know that because I just shot a video for Golf Digest and I picked exercise in this order. Won't get you hurt because I still have a conscience. Looks cool. All right. And then will produce results. That was my order. When I not flipped, won't hurt you, looks cool on film and photo, and will produce results. That was the most important priority. I picked a single leg squat to box because it would be able to like show a hip hinge and whatever. And I pulled a crossbody row instead of a standing row because it looked cooler on the photo. So when Tim was like doing his little mashup, I was like, "Oh, Tim." He was like, "Can I put this on the RPS page?" I was like, "All right."
Oh, delete it. Tim, sit down. Sit down.
Dude,
That
I've got some people in my DMs that are hot, and it's, I don't know, it's just part of life.
Your
Hey,
shot,
that's-
Tim.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm okay with it. Hey, listen, to me, I don't know how a lot of them fully train, because you don't really know what their programs are, but I can tell you that the few pros that I've seen their programs, 50% is garbage. Like a shit ton of
I'm
time.
surprised.
And here's what I mean by that. I'm going to refrain the word garbage. 50% is time spent doing things that could be elsewhere, in my mind. Right.
Are they doing it just because they need observation, you believe?
I don't know. I am uncertain of this. It's just when I see things that I'm like, okay, you spent nearly 25 minutes doing rotational movements, right? That were weighted or various weighted. You were unstable surface training for like half of your session today. That's not really moving the needle in the direction. Again, I say this to clients all the time. Like, you can go to the gym and do a whole host of things, and it probably won't make you any worse. And it might make you a little bit better because at least you're training, right? But is it optimized training? When you're talking about people trying to do the best things they can do to get better, right? Like maybe, squatting for them they can do and it's okay, or they're like wall sitting or something. But is it the best thing they could be doing? So I think a lot of times our energy is put to things that aren't as good as it could be. It's the way I would look at, like, hey, foam rolled for 15 minutes. There's probably 20 other things that we could be doing that would be a better use of time than 15 minutes of foam rolling, right? Just we have a limited amount of time that you can perform. And so if I have 45 minutes and I spent 15 of it on something that's really not of great use, I'm wasting your time. And from a conscience perspective, I just can't get on board with that. And that might not be everybody. I'm just saying that I think that that's too common.
Yeah, I think that when I talk to the strength coaches that are on tour or in the trailer, they're trying to balance so much because that top level player, so that when I do jump in the mud every once in a while to, like, I think I got in I wouldn't even call it an argument. I made a comment on a left-handed swing speed stick argument versus a non and whatever. But I think that when we criticize other coaches in our field about doing it, we have to remember that, number one, that player is tied in, unfortunately, a lot to their identity and their success. So if their player says, "Hey, man, I don't want to do a single leg deadlift again. I saw this cool thing. Can we try it?" More likely than not, you're going to let them go and you're going to let them do it. And if it's their phone and they want you to film it or whatever it is, they're going to do it. But the best thing that you can think about it that I've heard is, I was talking to Jason Glass. He said, "Hey, Duff, when you do work with a tour player, if I do call you or if anybody asks you to fill in and work with them, you have to work every session like it's going to be your last session with them." So when you go in with that mindset of, it's going to be my last session with this top level player, that'll probably get the most out of that outcome in that session a little bit differently. And it also, you could run into the fact that if you're seeing a top level player all the time, it could become redundant. Like today, I was very irritated by the Golf Digest stuff that I wasn't able to post because I did 8 clients in a row. I may have taken advantage of the fact that I see this guy all the time and I know that it's what he's doing, and I am still beating myself up about, like, I wasn't really attentive for those 5 minutes during the session when I got that email, which, granted, he was happy for me, whatever. But that's not going to happen where it would be my first tour player, right? But if it's your 25th tour player that week, you could definitely run over and be laps on some of those things. So that's why I don't really jump too much to conclusions to jump at anybody. And I don't know. I'm more likely to ask them a question privately in a DM, which I do now. And it's actually, they receive stuff like that well. "Hey, coach, feedback on this? Just wondering." If you jump in their comments and rip them apart, they don't love you.
It's true.
No, I don't think you have to rip people apart.
No.
I think for me, it's just, as a general statement, a lot of people struggle with changing things. I'm going to put this as like a general strength and conditioning coach thing. Like I've talked to coaches who are like, no, it's just not the way I do it. That's not the way we do things. We don't do it like that. It's not, this is the way we've always done it. This is the way we're going to continue to do it. And it's choke worthy.
This is how we always do it. And this is how I've always done it. I have like an allergic, I'm getting hives. I swear to God. I can't.
It's bad.
It's just red hair. It's just red hair.
No. It trickles down when I hear that saying. It just starts to spread, and I just get so irritated. I have like I never tear coaches apart in front of athletes, but I almost just shredded this coach that I used to work with because his answer was, "Well, this is how I always do it." And my only response was not. It was edited in my mind. Was, do you think that will get you the best outcome currently? That's all I said. But his athlete was like, I can't. I'm allergic to that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
This is how we always do it?
No, I'm okay with tearing people up.
Oh. I was like, I'm out of here.
No, this is good talk. No, I think it's important that we're able to have uncomfortable conversations with other coaches and with clients about certain things. I mean, obviously you have to skew it to your point, which is well taken. You do have to skew it to your client a little bit, especially if it's a touring pro and you're like, hey, I want to do this. And you're like, okay, like we'll sprinkle in a little bit of this. You're still going to do all this stuff over here because it's important, but yeah, let's add in a little bit of this. But a lot of times people are just they're so standoffish with stuff where it's like, oh yeah, that's totally fine. And again, if it's not your client, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. But I always feel, especially in our field, like PT, there's so much crap out there, like just bad, non-scientific, non-research based, just not good stuff.
Do you
like
mean fillers? Do you mean fillers, or do you guys mean just like this is the wrong? So I'm a general weakness in my coaching game. This is why I hire people that are smarter than me, like Tim. Is I'm not sure in the physical therapy realm what's a make you feel good and what's a produce long results. So when you say crap, do you mean fillers or do you mean just this is not proven to be most effective?
Both.
Yeah. Both. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of shit, dude.
We still ultrasound people. It
does nothing. There's stuff that there's solid research in the top journals that's like this does nothing, and people use it nonstop and say it whatever. Like the rock inside the ultrasound machine is a magical stone, and it's gonna fucking heal your ligament. It's like that doesn't work like that.
To be totally fair, the PT and strength world should only be combined. I do not see them as being separate things in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it's just a spectrum. We're just
a spectrum.
Yeah, we're on one end of the spectrum where we're doing what you're doing with people in pain currently and making that transition as fast as we can to like exactly what you're doing. You know,
and you guys have more student loans.
Oh, that's that's a low blow, my man.
Hard.
Hit me right in the ball sacks.
I was thinking about PT school. And then I luckily for me, I did terribly in chemistry, and I was told that I would need to take chemistry in college in order to go to PT school after college. And I said, nope.
See ya.
I'm bad at memorization and test taking. It's very, very low. If it's a verbal exam or if it's a presentation or if it's a walk into the classroom, talk to 50 people about a subject you learned 5 minutes ago in the hallway, I will pass. If it's sit down, memorize. See, boys? New words.
There's some new words.
Memorize the chemistry chart and then present it. The presentation will, if it's good, maybe my grade will come up, but
You ever hear the Karl Malone interview when he just came out of high school and they're like, Karl, you're going to go to the NBA.
Yeah.
Why aren't you going to college? He's like, I don't need no education. That just popped into my head. I don't know why. I love it. It's one of my favorite clips on the internet.
Yeah, I chose 4 internships instead of graduate school.
Phenomenal decision.
Dude, I mean, internships is where it's at, right? That's where the work experience is. I know every year of college I worked an internship at a company that was just like, yeah, I'm just working. I'm not doing random bullshit.
Yeah,
I won't get on my soapbox about it.
I also learned pretty quickly that the college strength and conditioning field was not the solution to any financial decision.
Yeah.
Unless I was cool with moving all the time and trying to make it to like the Big Ten or SEC and move a lot. And I don't like moving. I sure as hell don't love travel that much. And no, I don't like job insecurity either.
Yeah, and I think we have, in PT specifically, we have such a convoluted view of what we do and what our value is as like a whole. And so we've put our value into all of these modalities and having to use our hands and all of this manual therapy stuff. And without any of that stuff, so I remember talking to a buddy about this because when I had shifted into basically being almost full-time remote, I don't see anybody in person. Maybe an eval at their house if they're local. I don't see anybody. And I'm a PT. Well, PTs, you're supposed to touch people and you're supposed to do different manipulations. And how can you help people if you're not doing that? And it's almost like, so I'm either a glorified massage therapist. And he asked me, he was like, so you're just like a personal trainer. And I'm like, whoa, no, that's not what we are. Like, we're strength coaches that have a high level of understanding of physiology and pathophysiology, disease, injuries, how to handle them. But that doesn't mean that I have to do a bunch of nonsense in-person stuff to make them feel better. Like, I have clients that don't live in this country. They're in Australia and Norway and Britain. And I help them with their injuries. I just picked up a guy today that lives out in San Diego. I was telling Tim had like a 5th degree separation of his AC joint or 3rd degree separation of his AC joint. Thing is like
he's floating
up in the air.
Floating.
Dude, his x-ray is gnarly. Like, his clavicle is just like, or excuse me, his AC joint. It's gross. But anyways, like, you can help people from anywhere that you are. You don't have to be there in person. And like PT, it's one of the reasons I like working, or obviously in you guys' situation, like working with guys like Duffy, where you can get together with a strength coach and just go back and forth with each other, but you're using the same language. There might be some things like, hey, what do you think about this injury and how do they get back? And I'm like, oh, I hadn't thought about that. I like the way you said that. But you're accomplishing the same goal. Like, this isn't a dick measuring contest.
Tim, you should tell Jackson what I said on your, was it first or second day?
Oh yeah, no, the first, there's one. I think one of the first days I was there, someone was doing like a lunge and their knee was collapsing. So I was like, hey, push out into my hand, and she was like, all right, fine. He was like, just try not to put your hands on people without like asking them questions. I was like, dude, that's my instant reaction. I was like, I'm guiding movement. That's what I'm doing with my hands.
I was like, come here. I got a strict rule in this gym. You don't touch unless you ask 3 times, get a written permission slip. I was like, no. I was like, I don't know if you heard this. I was like, I don't know if you know this about the personal training clientele. I was like, but personal trainers, thanks God I'm a strength coach, do not have a fantastic reputation. You ask 20 times before you touch anybody. And Tim was like, that's what I do. I was like, not anymore.
Not here.
The loans were worth it. We can just touch people whenever we want.
Nope. I'm like, they're like, you've been coaching me for 10 years, Kevin. Stop asking if you can give me a physical.
You can touch my shoulder. You can touch my shoulder. Jesus Christ.
I don't have anybody that says no, but I just like it's my personal rule. Like, I'm asking you for the 100th time.
Yeah.
Can I move your shoulder back? Please.
The best description of this, the reason why I just like go and touch people, one of the coaches, you remember Andrea from the Honey Badger, right, Jackson?
Yeah.
So she always says, like, if you're going to ask someone a question, like if you go to the doctor, like you went to the doctor today, if they were like, hey, poop in this cup, right? Or they were like, hey man, this is kind of weird, but like, I don't know, if you don't mind, can you just like poop in this cup and then whatever, I'll take it and test it? Like, which one sounds weirder?
The second one.
Definitely.
So you just do it. So you just do it. They're just like, hey, this is what you got to do. So the same thing. I'm just like, hey, your knee needs to go right here to hit my hand.
Difference being is that you're not liable.
That's true.
Like he didn't like grab your ass and be like, "Hey, I need you to poop in this cup."
Yeah, get in here.
Like
Get in here.
little different. Like, this is my
Definitely
rubber
different.
glove. Let's see what happens. See,
How did we get on this side?
Yeah,
of this
sorry, I just took a left turn.
it's fine. This is our podcast. We can do whatever the hell we want. People like it. They like it. They don't like it. I don't know. Go listen to Joe Rogan, what you're doing already. Anyway.
The conversation came up recently when I was someone was asking how I ended up doing some of the Golf Digest stuff, and I told them that I was presenting 2 or 3 videos towards fellow strength coach, and then I showed the GM at the country club which videos he thought I should submit. He picked the one that was obviously more buttoned up and a little bit cleaner, high, very clear and concise. And then I automatically deleted that one, sent in the one where I was like, "Yo, Coach Kevin Duffy here," da, 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 and then I sent in that one, and that's the one who got selected. So I'm glad I'm not the one who keeps it buttoned up, but the GM golf world and the golf fitness world are different for a reason.
And they're changing quick, in my opinion. I think you are getting, like, a lot of my clients, I certainly don't come across as prim and proper, so to speak. Like, we're pretty candid, and they end up being candid back. Like, they're I think a lot of that, like, so I know at the country clubs that I've been in, especially down here, like, you have this upper level of people that are essentially dying and leaving the club that had like a very specific way. So like the board members who are like, "Hey, like, this is the way we do things here. We don't like this." It's the same thing with clubs where like everybody's in dress whites. Like, if you play tennis, you're in your whites. Like, that's just like it's their history of things. But now we're like, "Hey, let's wear hoodies when we play golf. We got some music." Like, that is creeping its way even into people that are a little bit older. And I think that that's really good for the golf performance world. I think that's almost a great thing, because it's not super like prim and proper and, okay, we're going to like lift little weights and we're going to work on flexibility. And you're like, "No, we're going to sweat and do some like rear foot elevated split squats and like break some stuff." And people are like, "You know what? I can get down with that." Like, it's becoming more acceptable and it's not so like taboo almost.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think when the country club hired me, they thought that I would be playing 90s hip hop and Rage Against the Machine, but that's what they got.
So
that's what they got.
Tim, did I send you the video of like Disturbed by Spice Girls?
Yes.
Did you send that to Kev? Dude,
no,
Duffy, you got to see this.
You saw it?
Oh, so fun. So
just a
fantastic.
Banger. Just an absolute banger.
That's the original version. It's the original version.
I can't get the kids. I'm trying to convert the high school kids to working out with more of like, we get intent and they work hard, but I'm like, they're not hitting that old school 50 Cent, Rob Steele, and bench press type of vibe that I had back in high school.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm trying to like slip in some, like, there's no way I'm going to get a Slipknot in there, but I might get a Rage, or there's no way I'm going to get like Disturbed. I might get away with like no, not Disturbed. Down with the Sickness is Disturbed, right?
Yeah, that's Disturbed. Yeah.
You could throw like a little. You could throw some like Linkin Park, like old school
Linkin Park,
like Paper
Papa
Cut.
Roach. You could throw Papa Roach in there.
I slipped in. This kid was deadlifting, and it was like Kendrick. I like Kendrick Lamar. It was good, but I was like, hold on, can't deadlift this song because he had not double body weight, but he's hilarious. He started out with, I'm not joking, 10-pound plate across chest, learning hip hinge. He just deadlifted 212 or 220 yesterday.
Awesome.
And I was like, but can't do it to this song. And I switched it to Korn.
There you go. Korn is classic.
Korn and Slipknot are awfully comparable.
Yeah,
they're close. I mean,
I was like, but like their music is comparable. Like one of my
deadlift was over, and people were like, "Coach, can we go back to?"
No.
Yeah, if Juggalos listen to it, it's got to be acceptable, right? I mean,
I'm out on Juggalos. They're weird.
What was your go-to? If you had a go-to song to like deadlift or squat to, what would it be?
My deadlift in high school and college was trash. My form there was not good. I didn't have great coaching in that regard. I didn't learn good deadlifting till well later.
All right. What were you listening to?
Squat. I PR'd squat 500 pounds for 3, and I was listening to. I think it was Korn. It was it was Rage Against the Machine, Born of a Broken Man. There we go.
Okay. All right. Tim.
I don't know, dude. I listen to a lot of like Tool and
Tool.
fucking. I mean, I rock Linkin Park in the gym too. So those
All
are
day.
probably the two.
You guys missed a great. You did mention Slipknot, but Duality by Slipknot is the jam.
It's a good one. It's definitely a good one.
Jam.
I just built a weight room in my basement, so I'm sure I'll bring it back up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you'll have plenty of time to experiment.
You gotta have all of those just rampaging. But now it's all, I mean, which this includes myself, you've got like these like heavy EDM influences with all kids today, outside of like heavy rap music. So there's gonna be a mix of some of those things. Like I remember like my best deadlift ever was to a Bass Nectar song.
There you go.
Fun fact.
Deep house,
that was,
like Tony Gentlecore.
No, not Deep House.
I don't know
Bass
if you
Nectar,
guys,
okay.
But he
All right.
does, yes.
When Skrillex met Rick Ross, I was like, "This is great."
I know. So I mean,
Then
sometimes it just happens.
Hey, song's called "Purple Lamborghini." You're welcome.
Yeah. Well, Skrillex did something with Korn too.
Yep.
There you go. It's very talented.
It's a very weird little man, but he can scratch some records.
Very odd. But yeah, that's all good. For anybody listening to this who is over the age of 40, you have no idea what we just said. And you should go look up Skrillex and then never listen to us again.
No, look up the Rick Ross Purple Lamborghini YouTube video. They'll definitely not be creeped out.
Maybe we'll end with this. This guy last week we listened to a lot of 90s hip hop, right? So I was listening. I had like Dr. Dre, Snoop, and this he's probably 60s. This guy just goes, I got to admit, I don't listen to a lot of this stuff, but I don't see why Joe Rogan's canceled if these guys said this. I was just like, well,
that's
we're
it.
done.
Mic drop. Get out.
Like, what a guy. What a comment.
I think Rogan and Chappelle are uncancelable, but people will keep trying and keep losing.
Definitely.
As they should.
Definitely.
They should 100% lose and lose hard and then get told they're idiots for losing. All right. I'm not even going to get onto the soapbox. I'm going to get fired up here before. I got to go work out now. I don't want to get this jacked up before I got to go get mad.
It might be a good thing. Who knows?
Purple Lamborghini is going to get me fired up. I do have to go deadlift. So see how that goes.
Test it out.
Yeah, I'm going to test it. I'm probably going to laugh the whole time.
All right. Well, we got to get Duffy back on and we'll talk shop because today I think was an intro. Now that we're working together, we'll have to get you on like maybe on a regular schedule and we can talk some shop.
Yeah, cool. Get me a Golf Strong hat and you got a deal.
Oh, we just got new towel. You just got some towels, right?
I did. I just ordered some towels. I got all sorts of swagoo coming in.
I bought Tim my t-shirts. Tim didn't take down your shirt size, so
You're right.
That's Tim's fault. So
that
he owes you a t-shirt. It's his
probably a little bigger than Tim's.
Just a touch.
Just small touch. Not a lot. Tim's getting swole. The last podcast we talked about what he weighed in high school, and I was terrified.
I'm close to what I weighed in high school now.
Ooh.
I'm way up. Let's just say I am way up.
You only have one way to go.
I got way up, and then the coach told me if I didn't increase my speed, I was going to play DN.
Did you go cannonball style? Like you just gained weight everywhere?
No. Not. So I didn't gain weight in a bad way.
You just got too big.
Jacked. Giant. I never met a bench press or a chicken breast your boy did not like. I was 228 pounds, but 5'10", and I was supposed to play outside linebacker, not inside linebacker. And our coach loved our inside linebacker, and he was damn good. So he was like, Duff, you're fast still, but you're not covering a 160-pound wide receiver or a 145-pound scat back. You're going to move to D end. And I said, no, thank you, sir. And I got back down to 205 real quick.
Yeah, that's a good position to be in.
Yeah.
That's a solid spot.
He said, what are you going to do? I said, lose weight. Run.
Quickly.
This waster.
The sauna comes in hot with like the sweatsuit.
I was a wrestler, so we know how to do it.
It's very true. Hence the cauliflower ear.
Yeah.
And I digress. Everybody, this was super fun. We're going to bring Coach Duffy back probably 100 times moving forward because he's fun and we like him, and Tim is betrothed to him, so that helps, I suppose.
Yeah.
We like it. As always, Jackson at Golf Strong, Tim at Golf Strong. Kevin, how do people find out about you?
Coach Kevin Duffy at Gmail or every other social media platforms, also at Coach Kevin Duffy.
It's as fancy as that. Rotational Power Systems.
Strength.
Oh, Rotational Power Strength.
God.
There we go.
Hey, listen, I have no time for it. But anyways, peace, people.
Peace.